Welcome back to our channel. Let's start with the news today. Why the Cavalry isn't coming to Ukraine side. The world is fast at the horror taking place in Ukraine. Urban centers are being attacked. Civilians, including children, are being killed. All of this is seemingly because Russian dictator Vladimir Putin decided he could swallow up a neighboring country. Millions around the world watch outraged and ask, are we just going to let this happen? Either world allowing a large, powerful country to swallow up a smaller, weaker one. And so many people can't believe the world is allowing it to happen, but we are, and we usually have. In fact, it has long been considered sound foreign policy, one of the central reasons offered by its defenders, calculating which negative outcomes are undesirable yet not existential for the outside world, and which are worth going to world over, has kept a much worse outcome from occurring, like World War III. The practitioner of foreign affairs, the women and men who decide how their nation will interact with the world, know this reality as real politics is the dry iron, and some might say cold-hearted practice of global politics as a logical game of means and calculation, because no country powers of or influence is infinity. Nation states must determine what are their crucial, even existential interests, and what are not. They must also decide what risks they are willing to take to accomplish what goal, and what risks are too great. If Machiavelli and Otto von Bismarck are often proffered as two fathers of real politics, the Cold War is perhaps the greatest endorsement of its wisdom. And the thinking goes, despite the toiling struggle between the superpower and their many proxy conflicts and close calls like the Cuban Missile Crisis, they never allowed confrontation to escalate to a direct conflict or worse. They acted rationally given the stakes and circumstances of who had power and interest were on the global. So the US and its allies, less Moscow, have its sphere of influence in the Soviet Union, which include Ukraine and the Eastern Bloc, which include Poland and other countries that after the end of the Cold War joined NATO. And it worked in that sense. There was no nuclear war, no World War III, and no annihilation of humanity. Just millions were oppressed by Soviet communism, but real politics, not enough strictly speaking, concerned with that. It is a world Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden grew up in. But we have never had to watch real politics unfold in real time on 24/7 social media in a world of ubiquitous camera phones. And it complicates matters, especially for world leaders like Biden and Putin. It makes the cruelty of traditional power politics transparent and ubiquitous. To put the current state of international affairs in the most terribly brutal real politics terms, is Ukraine worth the possibility of involving the United States and Russia, two nuclear powers that could destroy human life on Earth? Is in a shutting world, and are the risk to their citizens and the world worth keeping Putin out of Ukraine? These questions do not consider the morality of allowing a smaller country to be swallowed by a larger one, or a democratic one to be crushed by an authoritarian one. But that is the whole point of real politics, recognizing that consideration not connected to calculation of relative power, like morality or ideology, can lead nation states into action that actually threaten their power and even their existence. Real politics seek to remove those considerations, or at least to place them in a reasonable hierarchy. This is why Joe Biden has repeatedly said the United States will not send troops to Ukraine. This is why the United States actually removed its troops who are engaged in training from Ukraine once its new Russia was coming. Some critics have lamented that Biden signaled to Putin and that United States would not intervene directly military in Ukraine. He did signal it, and that was the point, to let his adversary know clearly how far he can go and where the line is. And the line is NATO Article 5 of NATO, the central pillar of the transatlantic alliance. Say an attack on any member will be treated as an attack on all members. Ukraine is not a member of NATO. Its neighbor Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania are. If Russia attack any of them, the United States and the other 29 members of NATO are obligated by Article 5 to consider it an attack on themselves and to defend that member state. Thus is a dangerous trip where Putin know this, and Biden and the leaders of NATO are hoping that knowledge will keep Putin from going further than Ukraine. Of course, the US and other nations are not sitting idly by doing nothing. Sanctions are powerful. They are short of military confrontation, but they can bite. Russia is even suggesting it will treat them as acts of aggression. Moreover, non-state actors like a business, sport, art, and a cultural institution can take action too, and they are still the limit of real politics are manifest. Morally, of course, watching the Russian world of choice imposed on Ukraine is difficult. Watching children die just because Putin decided to invade is terrible. An even graver shortcoming is successful realpolitik relies on your opponents being rational. There is increasing speculation among some American Putin experts, including Russia expert and former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice and the French president, that Putin may not be completely rational. And it does appear to be only that, as far as we know, speculation terrorists such as Al-Qaeda or US domestic terrorists are not rational actors either. They also are not nation states, so they have no land you can threaten and relatively few economic interests you can attack. So realpolitik is limited in its ability to help leaders calculate what move and counter move will lead to what consequences, and that is greatest danger of all. This is the end of our news today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for our channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.